Are we?
I think so. Should be.
I'll be the judge of that.
I love, again, I was saying this before we went live. I love that now is when Emmy decides she's like, I want to get out of the room, so I'm going to start kicking things. I gotta go let her out. Yeah, you go. You better not scream to get back in, because I know you're going to walk back, like, in 2 minutes.
It doesn't say we're live.
Really? It says that I am broadcasting. Jake, are you a liar?
I don't know. Maybe. Oh, there it is. Oh, now you're live.
Hell yeah. Look at that.
Look at that. Stream starting soon.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought that we get here?
Not me. Oh man, what a long way we've come.
What do you... What? How so?
Dude, like, we used to just be like we didn't even have an image. We were just a SoundCloud baby. And then we got a background. Then we got like a changing background. And now we're streaming.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm genuinely happy that we we didn't stick with SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Because it was so limiting. It was incredibly limiting with what we could do. But yeah. So this is the fun part where we're like, just hanging out. This is the fun part
where I eat my lunch, dude.
What are you eating today?
I'm eating a cold bowl of spaghetti.
That's just depressing, dude. I'm not even trying to make a joke. That just makes me sad. Ooh, hit him with the pog. Hello, Turtle. Welcome.
Pog.
Welcome to the pre-stream. I almost said post-stream. Yeah, we already had the episode. Goodbye. Show's over. But yeah, nah, it's
anyway, apparently I have a depressing existence.
Well, you say what you just said again. Where it's just cold spaghetti.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound sad.
Why not?
This is the image that I have. It's just you sitting in your room completely dark with a cold plate of spaghetti. You don't even have a fork. You're just grabbing it with your fists and putting it in your mouth.
Yeah, no. One, it's not dark out. The fucking sun is out and my windows are open.
I frankly do not believe you.
You are
a special case,
send you
yes.
A picture, but that would dox me.
Yeah.
But yeah. What, do you not have cold leftovers, dude?
Who's eating cold spaghetti and do they need antidepressants? Jake, answer.
I'm eating cold spaghetti and I do not need antidepressants. I'm high on life.
Oh my god. Man. What a wonderful time already.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we haven't even gotten to questions yet.
Yeah. Because today is the fun episode where people sent in questions, or I guess people can also ask questions live, because why not? That's the magic of having a show that's also streamed. Jake, take over.
That's the magic of being alive. The magic of being live.
That's the magic of healthy living. What company had that as their slogan? Was it Shaw's?
Will Painter.
What's that one painting company that had those commercials where it was the color swatches and they made things?
Oh, I don't know which paint company had the color swatches.
No. It was the commercial. No, shut up. The commercial. it was animated where it was they had this weather balloon. Yeah, that's what makes the Subaru. But they had this hot air balloon as their logo. And they had these commercials where the building was made out of the color swatches and there was animals around or whatever made out of the color swatches.
I think you just had a really bad trip, dude.
I doubt that heavily.
Dude, the building for me out of paint smudges, and there were like animals and shit everywhere.
I'm saying all this while strapped to a chair, just in a hospital, like in their basement.
You're saying this while you're like eating a hot fudge sundae that you don't even know where you got it. You just kind of did.
Dude, I mean, that's the equivalent of like how PAX would go for us, right? Where it would just be, I would wander off and like I'd come back and I'd have like a new console or games or whatever, and people would be like, "Whoa, yo, where'd you get that?" And I'd just be like, "I don't remember."
I don't know.
Yeah.
I must be really fine. You just gave it to me.
I mean, that's what happened with one of the Game Boy games I got. Just the dude was walking through and he was just like, "Hell yeah, Game Boy Advance, you want a game?" And I'm like, "Sure." And he just gave it to me and I was like, "Sweet, thanks."
Ozempic.
Yeah. Embic?
Sponsored by Ozempic.
What are you, what?
What?
I'm confused.
I'm confused.
I'm more confused than usual, and that is very hard.
Oh, no, it's not.
Jake.
Hi.
I don't need you to be so rude. Don't you know I'm human too?
No.
I'll marry you anyway, dude. Don't worry. It'll be a loving marriage. We'll get a suburb in
I can't. I'm saving myself for marriage.
That's why we got a speed run, dude. I already got the chapel. Like all set up. And dude, I'm ordained, so like I can make you marry me.
Are you now?
I actually am legally ordained in the state of New Hampshire.
Yes, you make that sound like a hard thing to do.
Well, it's just a funny thing.
Dude, I could get ordained by the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster and be a legal merrier person.
A merrier person.
Yeah.
On that incredible note, let's get this going, shall we?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, okay, you're in control.
True. All right.
Yeah.
Here's the funny, dude. It's the funny music. 3, 2, 1. I was off with the clapping. Hi everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Pixel Venture Podcast. I'm Corey.
And I'm here.
Yes, you are, Jake. Yes,
with the name of Jake. Yes.
I am the one with the name of Jake. Anyways, welcome to this grab bag episode. It's episode number... Is it the 5th one? I want to say it's the 5th
Sure.
one. And if not, we'll update the title when we put it on YouTube. But yeah, so I put a poll up on Instagram yesterday just to ask people, like, hey, what questions you got? And we're just going to go through them, and we'll talk about them however long we want. If we have extra time, we'll probably just we'll either take questions from the live audience right now, which is just Turtle, so you have a lot of weight on your shoulders right now, or Jake and I can just shoot the shit like usual.
You can just hear about our rambling machinations from our minds.
Yeah, about paint swatches and animals made of them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so to start off with the questions, the first one that we have is, what is your go-to quarantine activity? Seeing how the world pretty much shut down for a significant period of time, what were some things that you were doing to keep yourself busy?
Well, I've been doing a lot of writing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What in particular? Have you been doing, like, screenplay stuff or just like freeform?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like screenplay stuff, some more like narrative novel kind of stuff to get like a plot line going before eventually hopefully translating it into a screenplay. Both because it helps me with what I want to do, later in life as a career.
Mm.
But also because it allows me to be creative. It allows me to have an outlet for my creativity.
Yeah, and I've been on a kick of writing screenplays too recently. It's just because, well, again, like with you, it's like not only is it like something that we're going to be using later in life, and hell, like right now for us studies and whatnot. It's just fun to like I mainly write like short films, but I want to try to write like a feature length type piece. But again, I'm like very much in the storyboarding phase of it. But yeah, no, it's relaxing and fun because not only is it like, okay, you get to create this story, but you also get to create these characters, their backstories, like why they act the way they do. You get like a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I don't know if you've been doing this a lot during quarantine, which I mean, probably because, you know, gamers, but I've been tackling my backlog of games like a bit more aggressively because I'm kind of putting my foot down right now where I'm not going to be buying any more games until I complete my backlog. And my backlog is really, really big. So I'll be saving money for a while.
That's basically where I'm at too, until November when Cyberpunk comes out.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have the new build by then, so I could play it.
Don't worry, they might delay the game yet again.
Yeah, and I'll get more time.
I think my favorite part is when they said they wouldn't delay it again, and the coronavirus wouldn't get involved, and then they delayed it.
That was like weren't we talking about Last of Us 2? I think at one point we were like, man, that game's never going to come out, and it came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like once, well, again, like, I mean, past examples have like faltered with this kind of like I guess consistency or whatever, because I mean, look at Duke Nukem Forever. That game was in development since the 90s, and then it finally came out in like 2010s, right?
Like, I did not follow Duke Nukem, so I'm going to nod and say yes.
Well, I mean, it's not a good game. The only good games in the franchise, in my opinion, are Duke Nukem 2, which is the side scroller, and Duke Nukem 3D, which was essentially just Quake, but a bit more attitude.
Are you saying you don't like the original Duke Nukem, the one that got started in the best one?
It's an unplayable piece of shit. I hate it. I hate it so much. But
not a true fan, Corey.
Not a true fan. Oh, it's a shame that I'm not a fan of the game who used the same voice actor as Big the Cat. My bad.
But dude, good luck going through your backlog now that you have 1,600 new games from a epic deal on itch.io.
Yeah, which for anyone who was able to follow that link, I don't think the bundle's available anymore, is it? Or did they extend it?
No, they didn't extend it, but there might be. They came out with like a new one after it. It was like a little more expensive for a few less games. I didn't really look into it because I have 1,600 new games.
Yeah, and I mean I've been messing around with a bunch of the games like in my free time because a lot of them are short enough where you can just kind of pop them in, play them for an hour, and then like you're done. Like I mean, heck, I don't know if you played the game Kids.
No, but I've seen that played.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the package, and I played that, and it's one of those art house type ones where it's like you're supposed to pull like a deeper meaning, like from it. Whereas I know that a lot of people, if they were just going by face value, it's like little boy fall down.
I'm gonna be honest, that sounds like how you would interpret the game.
Nah, dude. Like anytime
that's how you treat like a regular game.
Well, yeah, because okay, here's my thing. All right, if I know for a fact that the person who made the game is trying to get across like a serious story or a serious message, like with a game like The Beginner's Guide, or Kids, or I think the other game by the same guy who made Kids is Plug and Play, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Like games like that, I will take very seriously. Cause like I'm fine with messing around with a game like, you know, the Robot Roller Derby dodgeball game, or Saints Row the Third, or like The Witcher and things like that, because I know there is that serious nature of it, but also like there's enough freedom in them where you can just kind of like go and do whatever. And like you can have like really stupid encounters in The Witcher, or like defeat a mission, or like beat a mission in Saints Row the Third in like the most outlandish way and have it completely work out. Like that's just something that can happen. And I think for a game where it's like very narratively, like, you know, driven, where it's like there isn't a whole lot to the actual game itself aside from the story they're trying to tell, I feel like it's important to take that seriously.
Yeah.
That's like I don't know if have you ever heard of the game That Dragon Cancer?
Yes.
I played that, and it's one of the most emotional experiences I've had with a game.
Yeah.
It's well, because I mean the subject matter is very personal. And while I can't relate to what happened in the end, personally, it's still a crazy ride. If you've never played that game, I highly recommend it. Be prepared to just feel sad, because like the whole game was made by the parents of this child who, when their child was born, they were told that he had cancer, like from like a very young age. And and the game follows them, like the parents going through like their life with him, knowing this and trying to give him a normal childhood, but also the seeds of doubt that always like can seep in when it comes to, you know, the idea that there is that time limit. It's a very deep and emotional game, and I highly recommend it. But yeah,
I'm always prepared to feel sad. That's the spirit.
It's a nice turtle. Yeah, I mean, you did. I forget who recommended it in your stream, but To the Moon was the game that you got recommended, and that is a very emotional trip. It's remarkable though. It has fantastic writing, and just it's weird to think about, like, because isn't that made in RPG Maker, like the original? I want to say it is, Jake. I'm not sure.
Wait, are you asking me?
Yeah. For To the Moon.
I do not know anything about To the Moon.
Ooh, it's an emotional like trip. It is very like it's hard to talk about without spoiling what makes it incredible, so I'm not going to say much. The only thing that I will say is that the writing is remarkable. It really like emphasizes like the way that people deal with the ideas of grief and depression and things like that. It's a very cuz dang, I can't talk about it without giving it away. So
if you want another very emotional game, I can recommend the game When the Darkness Comes.
That was the horror game that you played, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about this. If you want, you can actually, like, if you send me resend me the screen caps that you got, I can kind of put them on screen so people can see what the game looks like. Actually, I can pull up the Steam page.
Yeah, or you could go back into our like DMs and find them.
There's so much, dude.
Dude, Discord has a search function.
I'm lazy. I found it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, please feel free to explain the game.
So the first and foremost warning, as someone who's played through the entire game, if you they have this warning, and I can definitely like agree with them that the warning is justified. If you have severe depression or anxiety, this is not the game for you.
Yeah. Please don't immediately play with audio. Let's see.
It tackles a lot of very heavy subject matter, and it definitely gets across in the game. In the form of like doubts and like mental mindsets. And I don't really know how much to talk about the game without giving too much away.
Yeah. I'm just going to play the video from the Steam page. It's going to be on Steam.
Right.
On the stream.
Is there going to be audio, or can I like keep talking over
You can keep talking. I don't have the audio.
Basically, the premise of the game that's clear from like the very beginning is you are playing a game and it is very aware that you are playing a game, and the entire idea of the game is that you finish it in like basically a couple seconds, and once you've like, you know, quote unquote played the game, the developer is trying to get you to exit the game, and for some reason you can't, and you're stuck, and you are forced to find your way through the game to get out. And the entire time you're like figuring more out about the developer who made the game, who's like narrating to you this entire time. And it kind of has some vibes from like a beginner's guide in terms of like a developer and like getting an understanding of his mindset through their game that you're playing. And as you can like kind of see in the videos, like there's messages that you can read everywhere, and there's like a ton of very like interesting imagery that plays into the theming of the game. And there's like a very there's various different endings to it that I don't want to spoil for people who want to play it, because it's definitely the kind of game that you have to experience before you can really like understand like what makes it so special.
It's incredibly intense though. So like
it is very intense. Like, as someone who doesn't have depression or anxiety, I can definitely see this being like almost like a trigger of sorts for people who are very like vulnerable to that kind of thing. Just because like it puts on like it lays it down really hard. And
one thing that I will say, just that you've told me about the game, is that there is more than one ending.
Yes, there is. There are multiple endings that I think should be experienced, because it does it in a very interesting way, and it does a lot of things that I like video games to do, because like the entire time, like the game knows that you're playing the game and it's trying to like get you to leave, and they really play on that like, oh god, what's it called when it's like it's very self-referential.
Yeah, it's like
Doki Doki Literature Club is probably like the classic example people know of.
Yeah.
Like there's like it plays on itself very well, and like I don't even want to talk about it, because like I really appreciate the way that it does it.
Yeah.
Because like some of the things are pretty standard, and then others like it's actually like intriguing, and I'm actually amazed by. So
yeah. What I love,
yeah.
just from like looking at it, is that not only is it like a deep narrative type experience, but it's also actually free to play. So if you think you can handle the subject matters and everything, because it dives deep into anxiety and depression and a lot of like those types of like heavy subject matters, if you can deal with that, play it. 100% play it.
Yeah.
And speaking of,
or like if you do it and it turns out to be too much, like definitely just like back out of it.
Yeah.
Which can be a little bit hard. so take that with a grain of salt. But
Yeah.
like it is definitely not for the faint of heart, or people who are not in the best of mindsets or moods.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it is like a really good game. But I do think it's a great experience for people who are able to like handle it properly.
But what I would recommend is, we already mentioned it, is the beginner's guide. And
Yep.
so in order to give an idea of what the beginner's guide is, I'm actually going to pause the music for a second and just let the video kind of explain what it is, because it does a better job than I would.
All right.
Let's say you sit down at a stranger's computer. You start opening up files and looking through stuff, and eventually you come to a folder that just says My Work. So you open it, and you click on a random file, and it's a video game that looks like this. If you had to guess, what would you say you know about this person right now? Like, maybe they're kinda goofy. Okay, you close that, you scroll down a bit, and you open up a new file. It's another game. Do you think this person is happy? Are they unhappy? Now another one. What do you think is comfortable for this person? What puts them at ease? Do you think they're lonely? What's missing in their life? Keep going, open another file. Let's look at all of them. Let's unpack this person. Are they upset about something or fighting something? What do you think makes this person angry? What kinds of friends do they have? Do they even enjoy making video games at all? Take all of these images, hold them in your mind, and now try to imagine, without ever having met this person, who they are. Okay, let's do it. Let's find out if you're right.
So, I highly recommend this game.
Yep.
It's an incredible narrative experience because the entire time you're following Davy, who is narrating this story about how his relationship with a friend, like through the internet, who creates these small games using the Source engine for Valve.
Yeah.
And about his relationship with him over the course of like a few years, and him trying to figure out like why contact was severed between the two of them. And you learn more about Davey. You learn more about I'm trying to remember the name that he has for the player itself, or like the person who made it.
I would say that like the Beginner's Guide is definitely a game that I think everyone should experience just because of the narrative and how it's told. And I would also say that if you like the Beginner's Guide and want something more like it, When the Darkness Comes is a great continuation of that kind of story and that kind of like game if you think you can like handle it.
Yeah, I will say the Beginner's Guide is a little bit lighter compared to When the Darkness Comes.
Exactly. It's kind of like a primer in that sense.
Yeah. It is $10 on Steam. I think it's highly worth that. I think it's a fantastic game. I think everybody should experience it, especially if you're interested in writing, like, you know, deeper kind of characters and everything with games.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so we've spent like half an hour on one question.
Well, yeah, I was going to say this actually kind of leads into the next question is, how do I get into video games? You good, Jake?
Build a PC.
I liked it. That was pretty funny. But
honestly, it's a lot about just like what you want to play.
Yeah, it's like I don't know specifics of like what you'd be interested in. But when it comes to games, the thing that I've kind of like have done just to figure out what I like is I just kind of thrown myself into like, you know, random genres and random games and systems and saw like what would work out. If you have the opportunity to play something before you purchase it, do it. Demos are a fantastic way to determine how you feel about certain games. I know Steam has a lot of them. The Nintendo eShop has them. I don't know about Xbox and PlayStation too much. I'm pretty sure they have that. Also, there's a lot of free games that kind of give you a glimpse of what those genres would be like. Like, for example, if you're looking for like a first-person online shooter, PlanetSide exists. Like, you can try that out. And there's a lot of easy ways to get into video games. It's all just about like, what do you look for in a game, and like would you want to actively play? Because if you throw yourself into like a 50 to 80 hour JRPG game and you realize halfway through it that you hate it, like that's going to kind of deter you from going on and like trying to find other things, because you're going to be like, oh, if everything's as big of a time sink as this, then I'm not going to like it.
Yeah. That's basically it. Yeah. If you want to get into games, just start playing them, see what sticks, see what doesn't.
Yeah. I will say some good kind of like starter games when it comes to like, you know, testing out how you feel about certain genres. Tetris is the go-to puzzle game to start with. Everybody's played it at least once. I also recommend Puyo Puyo for that, which is another kind of like fallen puzzle game that's very fun for anything involving like, you know, first-person shooter. Definitely look at the free-to-play options, because there's some pretty good ones that are in there. Also, there's a lot of games that fall in that genre that go on sale constantly, such as the Borderlands franchise, the Call of Duty games, things like that. RPG type games, if you're looking for JRPGs, there's a lot of good games out there. My personal recommendation is a bit of a niche pick, and this is only if you have a DS, is Glory of Hercules. Fantastic RPG. Absolutely adored it. I mean, obviously Skyrim, Witcher, if you want like, you know, the deep dive kind of RPGs and everything. There's so many games that I could recommend, but again, just look, see what piques your interest, see what makes you interested in like, you know, trying it out, and give it a shot. Because some of my favorite games that I've ever played, such as Enter the Gungeon, I got it on a whim because I was like, oh, I like that art style. Let's see how the game plays, and it turned out to be one of my favorite games.
Another thing that can be kind of underestimated, but can also be very fickle, if you will, is playing a game with friends is a completely unique experience.
Yep.
And if you're just getting into playing video games, like a good way to play games is with like a community of people and being part of that community. If you're just getting started, maybe try just like playing games that, like, if you know anyone who's an epic gamer, like play some of the games that like they have and like play with them and like slowly kind of like work your way into it. It won't guarantee that you'll enjoy that kind of game still, but like it is definitely a unique, and in my opinion usually like a better experience when you play a game with like friends as opposed to just like complete strangers all the time if it's like a multiplayer game.
Yeah, the best experiences that I've had with like multiplayer games have been when I'm playing with friends, because I have a very hard time playing games if I'm going completely blind into like whoever is you know, there. Like if there's just some randoms that are telling me like I'm garbage, I'm trash, instead of like, you know, being constructive and stuff like that, like it deters me from the game. That's kind of why I stopped playing League of Legends and why I kind of stopped playing Overwatch, was just the times where I would play by myself and not with my friends. It made me think, yeah, this wasn't worth $60, or yeah, this wasn't worth putting hundreds of hours into this game.
Yeah.
Like, not to say that like you can't have fun without friends, but like it is a nice way to ease into it, where it's like I mean, hey, example, whenever Ethan would just be like, hey, I found this like random mini game that looks fun. Here's like a copy. We should try it out. That's how we found games like Orbital Gear and like Stick Fight and games like that.
You know what's actually a good example of a free-to-play game that I think is great to play with other people? Destiny 2.
Yes!
Destiny 2 is free to play, and I pretty much exclusively play it when there's other people for me to play it with.
Yeah,
like it can be fun on its own, but like I'll play it whenever like I've played it with Ethan a couple of times.
We played a little bit
together, and then like I also just have like online friends that I've met from like other games who happen to play Destiny 2, and I'll play it with them occasionally.
Dude, I would love to play Destiny 2 again with you.
I don't think you have the 100 gigabytes.
I actually have the whole game downloaded on an external hard disk.
Another note for people who want to get into gaming, hard drive space.
Yes,
is very important.
Yes, otherwise you're like me where you have to delete half of your game library in order to download something.
Yeah, God forbid your game has like a bunch of updates to it, so you need to keep uninstalling games or files just to keep playing it.
Yeah, it's super important, and also like especially if you're getting into PC games and like you're looking to play games that are very intensive, know the limits of your computer, and if you're planning to build the computer around what you want to do.
And as another unrelated tip, just because you haven't heard of a game doesn't mean it won't be good.
Exactly.
The whole indie scene of like small developers creating games is like a niche in and of itself, that like just because you haven't heard of something doesn't mean it's not like a gem that hasn't been discovered yet.
That's how I found Inversus, like when I was at PAX, and that's also how I found have you heard of the game Aliens Go Home Run?
No.
It is Brick Breaker, but you play as a baseball player, and you can like do these dashes on the ground to slide between like bases to smack the baseball with your baseball bat, and it feels way more involved than a classic Brick Breaker, and it's just so legitimately satisfying to to play. It's so much fun. I highly recommend it. It's like $2 on Steam.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's how I found When the Darkness Comes, and that's, like, probably my favorite horror game and walking simulator that I've found in, like, a really long time.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this actually kind of gets into another question that we have, which is, what's the last game that you've played?
The last one that I played was Stick Fight.
Ooh.
Yeah, just last night I played a little bit of Stick Fight with our goody friend Ethan and some of his D&D mates.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've been playing Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle because I skipped it when it first came out because I was like, this game does not look fun. I'm not huge into strategy type games. Like, I don't know if I would like it, but it was on sale, I want to say like a month or two ago for like $15. And so I picked it up instead of like, it being full price $60. And I've been playing it, and I am genuinely surprised of how much I enjoy it. It's very reminiscent of the XCOM franchise. So if people are interested in those games, then you already know what you're getting into. It's fun art style. It's Mario with the Rabbids humor, and usually I hate the Rabbids humor. Like, that's like a franchise that I just have not really meshed well with personally. But this game, what?
Butthole.
Yeah, but this game actually like makes it so that their humor is non-intrusive, and like a lot of the stuff is background gags or like there's you can get the Rabbids characters on your team as well, like for like in like different forms, and the character of Rabbid Peach is actually incredibly funny and has some great moments throughout the campaign. I'm about halfway through the game, and I've enjoyed every second of it.
Nice.
But yeah. Anyways, to kind of go off of like, talking about Nintendo for a little bit, there's actually this question which I already have kind of like a very strong opinion on this, but I'm interested to hear how you feel.
All right.
Is Nintendo obligated to port Wii games to the Switch?
No.
Yeah, they're not. Like
only off of the fact that Nintendo's not obligated to do anything.
Exactly, they could just
technical definition. Should they? Yeah, but obligated.
Even a question of should, because like, here's my thing. Okay, like I would. Like, don't get me wrong, I would adore being able to play Mario Galaxy on the go and, like, playing a lot of Wii games that I grew up with, like, portably. But also, you need to consider, like, the resources that they would put into that could, like, pull away from, like, new projects for the franchise. Like new entries that kind of, like, push the boundaries of what was going on. Also, like, I know a lot of people have been kind of spitballing the ideas of like Nintendo doing like a bunch of remakes for like the Mario I forget what the anniversary is, but people have been like, there's been speculations and rumors that a remake of like Galaxy, like the first 2 games, are coming to Switch. If that happens, then awesome, but also you have to think about the fact that Odyssey exists and how a lot of people are saying
like you don't even like Odyssey, but you're fine with like the Galaxy games.
Well, they're very different with the way
exactly.
They're very, very different games, but also it's just like, I don't know how. I don't know if they would be like, okay, let's just remake Mario Galaxy in the engine for Odyssey, or are they going to make a completely different engine for it? Which I don't imagine they would do that. And
wait, completely different engine for what?
If they were doing a full remake of Galaxy. Because not only was that speculated, but also people were saying that a remake of Mario Sunshine would be on the system, which, if that happened, that would be amazing. But again, I really don't, I don't put any stock in any kind of like thing like this, because a lot of these are just people being like, it's fine for people to dream. Like, that's fine. But it just feels wholly unrealistic.
I mean, like, I don't know how Nintendo specifically programs their games, and I don't know what their source code looks like.
We know half of the system source code now.
I don't fucking know, because I'm not a Nintendo boy.
Yeah, there was some massive leaks of the source code for like a bunch of their systems recently.
Anyway. Like, I'm sure they would have to do, like, a fair bit of porting to get games like Super Mario Galaxy onto the Switch, but, like, if there's a demand for it, like that's basically just the equivalent of, like, backwards compatibility, or, like,
yeah,
compatibility.
What I would see
something that every other console asks for. Like, everybody wants, like, to play their, like, Xbox 360 games on their Xbox One instead of having to buy like a whole new game.
This is one of the things that, like, I know the Wii U has a very bad rap when it comes to the Nintendo, like, fanboys and everything. This is the reason why I love this system and I still actively use my Wii U. You can buy digital downloads of Wii games off of the system for like $20. You can also get like classic Super Nintendo and NES and N64 and some GameCube titles as well. Like, those are all available off of the eShop for the Wii U. And the last time that there was any good backwards compatibility like that was the Wii, where you could also get like Neo Geo, N64, Genesis, like so much incredible support. And then you look at the Switch, and it's honestly a slap to the face that they don't offer something like that, where they're like, okay, we're going to put a bunch of the classic games behind a paywall through our online service, and not even update that frequently enough to warrant people wanting to get, like, I initially got the service because I was like, okay, it would be cool to have those NES games to play, and then you play all of them, and you're like, okay, when are they going to update it? And they're like, we don't feel like updating it for the next 2 months. And it's like, you literally have proven that you can put all of these classic games available like on their stores, and sure, it was like, you know, like $3-4 for each of them, but also it's like there was such a great collection that they just had available, and I'm flabbergasted that they just wouldn't continue that trend. Like, I understand if it was like some difficulty where it's like the ROM compatibility, because they're 100% ROMs, they're emulators that work through, like, you know, the Wii or the Wii U, but like I get if like they weren't compatible with the Switch, but you'd also think that they would try to purposely, like, you know, get it working and available, because people love these games. Those are my 2 cents, though.
Yeah, make it work.
I don't know. It's weird because I went back and actually started playing my Wii U a little bit more because of the backlog of games. And it's just, you go onto their eShop and you just see so many incredible games that, like, would do incredibly well on the Switch. Like, if they move the ability to pick up, like, you know, just the Wii version of Mario Galaxy, because the thing that's wild too is that, like, there is full, like, pointer, like, capabilities, like, inside of, like, the Nintendo Switch, like, controllers, because of the motion sense and stuff that they have. Like, you can play World of Goo on your Switch, and it will pick up your right Joy-Con as a Wiimote, and it will work perfectly fine. And it's just like, why not just transfer that over? Like, I understand there's a different button layout than you know, the Wiimote. There's more buttons to work with. You think that would be easier too, because you could also, like, set certain motion controls to, like, buttons. So, like, you know, Mario Spin, hit the Y button or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. We don't work in the video game industry. A lot of the things where we're like, oh yeah, it would be so easy. Maybe that would be, like, you know, months of them slaving away in, like, you know, like just trying to make prototypes or whatever. So, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, for the next question that we have, favorite aha moment. And the way I'm interpreting this is, like, it's a favorite moment where you're like, where something clicks and it makes sense, or, like, you figure something out that you weren't able to for the longest time.
What's your favorite aha moment?
Mine actually is very recent. So there's a game for like Wii that I played the absolute hell out of when I was younger. It's called Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles: The Crystal Bearer, and it's a messy game. It's definitely not, like, very well remembered, mainly because every single character is incredibly unlikable. Like, everyone's a complete jerk to each other for no reason. The worlds are very fun to explore, but I realized when I first played it as, like, a kid that I never did anything involving the equipments or upgrades or anything like that. So I beat the final boss of the main campaign with essentially, like, no gear the first time that I played, and I was like, man, that was why it was so hard. Maybe I'll pay attention to, like, equipment and stuff, like, this time around. I did that, and the game becomes a joke. And it's like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm surprised that, like, people would go through and play with, like, all that. But I guess the aha moment was, there's a bunch of there's a bunch of bosses that happen to be around, like, the world, but, like, the game doesn't really establish them as bosses unless it's, like, very specific, like, parts of the game. Like, they're kind of like secret areas or whatever that you have a limited time to beat them. And I got the achievement finally for beating all of the optional bosses, and that took way longer than I wanted it to be. But it was such, like, an amazing moment where I was, like, running around this huge open world for, like, hours, being like, where is it? Where do I go? And just falling into a random hole where all of a sudden there's this wall that's chasing me, and it has a huge health bar, and I'm like, oh my god, that's the boss. It was great.
I don't know what my favorite aha moment is because I don't get a lot of them. I either know something or I'm clueless, so there's not a lot of ahas in my life. But one of my most recent aha moment was playing this game called Helltaker, where I believe we've talked about it before.
Yeah, we talked about it before. It's like a block pushing puzzle game.
Yeah, a block pushing puzzle game with demon ladies that you're trying to turn into a harem. And it is a very difficult puzzle game.
The art style's great, though.
The art style's great, and the music is bopping.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the puzzles are, oh boy, they are tricky. And I want to be a big boy and not look at any guys or anything. I want to beat it legit, and I did. And I got a little upsetty spaghetti at one point, but I managed to do it. And oh boy, when you figure it out, you're like, fuck yes.
Dude,
thank God.
That's how I felt when I finally beat the werewolf in Witcher 3, because I refused to do any of the, like, you know, the smart tactics of like making the bomb where it's like, you know, can't regain health or like do whatever like effects. I was so fucking like dead set on beating it with the gear that I had, and I finally did on a whim. And I remember getting up and putting down my Switch and like doing a lap around my room. It was so rewarding.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Ready for the next question?
I don't know, dude. Am I?
I'm asking you.
I don't know, dude.
Worst thing you ever cooked?
Worst thing I've ever cooked.
I have a story.
Now, I've done some cooking. I've made myself a few meals. I've made eggs. I've made pecan. I've made pancakes. I did a lot of cooking when I was a Boy Scout on campus. And honestly, I haven't fucked up a lot of things. Eggs, pretty easy, as long as you know cook them, but not too much.
Yeah. I mean, that's half of cooking, is cook it, but not too much.
Plenty of my cooking has been just kind of like read the container, like spaghetti. You just gotta like read the instructions and you know how to make spaghetti. Or like bacon, kind of like, you know, clean cut and dry, like what to do.
Yeah.
Even on camping trips where we didn't have a plan and we just kind of threw things together, it's come out pretty fine. Hell, we made a banana pudding. It was supposed to be a cake, but it was a very loose cake, and that still tasted fine because it tasted like sweet bananas. In the form of a bread pudding, and that was fine. That was good. We made it in a Dutch oven. It was great. There's only one thing I've truly ever fucked up.
What?
It was something that didn't even require cooking, in air quotes.
We're just mixing things?
Pop-Tart.
A what?
Alright.
How'd you fuck up a Pop-Tart?
So
they're pre-made.
We don't have a toaster in my household. We have a toaster oven.
Oh no.
Which is kind of like a better toaster.
Oh no.
Most of the time, except.
Oh
no. I'm like, you know what? You're supposed to, like, you know, Pop-Tarts. Some people put them in the freezer for some reason. Some people like to heat up their Pop-Tarts. And you know what? I kind of like a good toasty Pop-Tart.
That's what toaster strudels exist for, though.
So, well, shut up. Not everyone's rich.
They weren't expensive. They were not expensive.
I'm joking, Corey. So, I took a Pop-Tart and I put it in the toaster oven, right? And, you put it in, you like wait for it to like heat up and like, you know, do its magic on the Pop-Tart. I took some like wooden like tongy bit things to like pick it up because like it's hot. You don't want to shove your hand in the toaster oven. That'd be stupid.
Yeah, so let's put the piece of wood inside instead.
Oh, that wasn't even the problem. I pick it up, and well, it turns out I wasn't holding it hard enough, and so it kind of fell through the grates in the toaster oven, and it started burning. It burned a lot. It landed right on where the heat comes from, so it started burning and then started smoking. It even caught fire for a little bit, and so that's how I made everyone know that day that I was awake and getting ready for school at like 6 in the morning. By setting off everybody's alarm. And so yeah, I managed to fuck up cooking when it didn't even need to be cooked. But that's my biggest cooking mistake. Almost like, if you were to like burn cereal or something.
Yeah, but my story, I think actually, weren't we in I think we were in a Skype call while this happened. So it's not even like a cooking thing, because I mean, I can make stir fries, I can make grilled cheese, I can do pasta and pizza, obviously, and all that stuff. Like, it's that stuff is simple to me.
Yeah.
When it comes to mixing drinks, specifically like smoothies, I am incredibly hit or miss. It's either
really?
It comes out perfectly, like, there's not too much of everything, or like, it tastes a little off, or it explodes. So there was one day, I think I was either in a Skype call with you or Ryan. And I remember I turned on my webcam because I was like, okay, cooking with Corey, because like my family was up in Maine or whatever. And I stayed home because I needed to take care of the animals. And so I'm like making a blueberry smoothie because I wanted it, and we had like, fresh blueberries, and I was super excited. And so I threw everything that I needed into the NutriBullet, and I put it into like the actual compartment itself. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're blending anything, especially with a high-powered, piece of hardware, like the NutriBullet,
oh no,
make sure everything is screwed on tight.
Oh no.
Because the moment that it started, I was holding it down, and then everything sprayed out the sides. Covered the fridge, the cabinets, the oven, myself. It was a huge mess. It was actually horrible. I think the worst part...
I really want to laugh at that. Because, like, smoothies are, like, the thing I am most confident in my ability in.
I'm most confident in my ability to make pancakes.
Dude, I can make a bitchin' smoothie.
Dude, well, see, I'm getting better with smoothies. It's literally, though, like, the worst thing that I've ever messed up cooking was just straight up not having the cap screwed on enough. Where, like, I just put it down and then it went, and then everything started flying everywhere. The blueberry hit me in the eye. It was awful.
Oh man, you went blind that day.
Yeah, I went blind. I could never see again.
Yeah.
Anyways, next question.
Okay.
I don't want to talk anymore about that. Alright. Favorite food?
Ice.
Ice. Because it's hot today. It's 90 right now.
Yes, it is.
Which is wild to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, it said it's supposed to be, like, the highest 73 and lowest 60 or something, and it's like, no, it's 90.
Sushi. Sushi is my favorite food.
Yeah. We definitely talked about this before, where, like, I think we both agreed that sushi is, like, top tier.
Someone's not saying the podcast if you're asking a second time.
Yeah, you fake fan. But, yeah, no, there's just so much you can do with sushi. It's kind of like the same way where I can understand someone just being like pasta, because there's so much you can do with just pasta in general.
Yeah.
But also that
I'm also bad with favorites, so it's easy to just generalize with sushi.
Well, yeah. I will say though, favorite roll is probably Una Avo. Thank you for getting me into eel.
You're fucking welcome.
It's a weird initial taste, but the aftertaste is what makes it. It's top.
Honorable mentions of sweet potato rolls,
Idaho,
and shrimp tempura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you know how sad I was when so you know how Yoshimama has that lunch special thing?
I do.
Una Avo is not on it anymore.
Oh.
Like I was going to order it with a friend, and like when I was like, oh yeah, I'll get what I usually do, which is Una Avo, Boston, and the shrimp tempura, and they're like, oh yeah, they don't have that anymore. And I'm like, what? Like you can order it separately, but I guess like it was too pricey to make, like maybe during quarantine, or they just decided to like.
I mean, there's probably not like a lot of people getting sushi during a pandemic.
Honestly, Jake, and you know this, if I had the funds to do so, I would eat sushi every single day.
You do realize that, like, like, I say sushi specifically, not even because it's Asian and people are stupid, but because sushi is literally, like, cold food that you can't, like, heat up to sterilize after getting takeout. And it's food that's made, like, by hand, by chefs.
Yeah.
In, like, a kitchen full of people, which is, like, not very sanitarily minded. As someone who would love to have sushi every day, I would love to have sushi again, for, like, you know, the second time this year.
Yeah.
As someone who hasn't had sushi since, like, January,
holy crap.
It would be great. Yeah, for my birthday. But yeah, I haven't had sushi since then, and I would love to have it again. Actually, no, that's a lie. We got the sushi burrito since March. I haven't had sushi since March.
Jesus Christ.
But like I'd love to, but at the same time, like I don't know if I would trust getting sushi at a time like this.
I haven't had any problems yet. That's the way that I'm seeing it right now.
And yet, it's the key word.
Yoshimama has always been like very like sterile when it comes to everything. They clean constantly, like as they're making things.
But Corona doesn't care.
Yeah. True. But
Corona doesn't care.
Anyways, here is actually the last question, which is good because we just hit the hour mark.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the last question is music recommendations.
Oh, baby. Music recommendations. You're great at those.
Yeah. I remember I sent you the list of questions that we had, and you're just like, Sabaton.
Honestly, yeah. Sabaton, if you want, like, something more, like, heavier in, like, the metal genre, and are a fan of historical conflict.
So, I have a few recommendations I have lined up for this. I should actually pull up like different tabs so I can just like switch between them. I want to do that real quick. Jake, talk about music.
Miracle Sound is also a really good creator of music who does a lot of really interesting things with his songs. He makes songs about video games and makes them very thematic, and does a really good job with making the lyrics and playing instruments.
He's super good and handsome, and I'm sorry.
If you're just gonna make fun of me.
No, I'm just imagining like it's like in it's like middle school or elementary school where it's like, okay, you have to talk about your favorite food. And he's like, I like graham crackers because you can make s'mores. Like, I don't know why that like.
I don't need this kind of bullying, dude. I'm just trying to tell people about a man who's able to make relevant lyric to certain existing franchises and universes while also making a melody that perfectly fits the theme of the game that he's writing about, but he also writes his own songs in an original way.
Yeah, he's real talented. He's real talented.
You made fun of me for that, you little shit.
Okay, anyways, so my recommendations, I'm actually going to open the tab. So one boy who he's very talented. He's an incredible artist. I've talked about him before. Santiago, also, you know, his name's Diego, but his artist name's Santiago. He released an EP recently called Here Now, and I can recommend all of the songs on here. They're all masterclass. I love them so much. It's Cold Now is probably my favorite. Lay Still is a close second. Fantastic work. Got some support from San Holo and the rest of Bitbird. Mom and Dad are fighting again. But yeah, fantastic EP. Give him some support. Really good. Another person that I would like to shout out, I'm going to quickly search it live. The song is called Golden Fish, and it is by Bronto. And for those of you who know kind of like the friends that I have, this is Sebastian, also known as Brontosaurus 420. I'm going to quickly do this little Seb command. Or, oh, was it Bronto? There we go. Sweet. But, yeah, fantastic guy. Very talented. This is his first official single that he's released, and we're super proud of him. Definitely support him. He's working on another song to follow it up. And, yeah, just love the guy to death. Want to give him some support. The next artist that I can recommend, and probably the last one before I, like, throw, like a he sounds like a dweeb. Thanks, Turtle. But the artist that I can recommend just anything he's done, his name is Ellis. He is crazy talented. This single in particular, Don't Say You're Sorry, if, you know, things would actually load. Oh, there he is. There's his face. But Don't Say You're Sorry is incredible. Love the song so much. Just everything that this guy is making is very fun and funky and upbeat. Highly recommend it. Don't Say You're Sorry and Migraine are probably my two favorite songs by him. But other than that, highly recommended. Check him out. And the last thing that I guess I can plug is for a lot of people who are like, oh hey Corey, like what oh, I just closed the tab. I can open it here. People are like, oh hey Corey, what are you listening to right now? Well, have I got a playlist for you. It is called The Dumpster Fire, and if this would like to load, there we go. It is pretty much just every single song that I've ever had any kind of fleeting interest in. It's a combination of like all of the playlists that I like mess around with. Oh, this is a good song right here. TTM, good song. Recommend that. Also Canvas and City of Stars, and yeah, all these songs I can recommend. So if you're ever in a moment where you're like, oh, I'm bored, I want to try to you know, check out some new stuff, and I want like, you know, maybe bands I haven't heard of or artists that like, you know, need more attention, this playlist is what I can recommend. So yeah, there'll be a link in the description of the YouTube video, or if you use the command, I believe, playlist or song, I forget exactly what it is in the Twitch chat, but you'll get a link to the playlist that I use for the streams, and then from there you can find it. But yeah, anyways,
are you really good? Is Captain Crunch fun time like that?
Well, that's a separate playlist. It's pretty good though, not gonna lie.
Though I do think another music recommendation that shouldn't just be let, like, you know, slipped by like that is this one a really popular band called Nothing Between the Stars.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Pixel Venture Podcast.
They're a cute little indie boy band.
Jake,
yeah.
Can I say it's probably not the best to promote our band because we're trying to rebrand at the moment.
But it says new music coming soon.
It's said that for like a year, and then quarantine happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. What?
Did you really not think that would come up?
I was trying to avoid it, young man.
You never told me about that, and I'm like, hey, I know a band. So you do. You're in it.
Yeah. Well, anyways. So this was an episode. We actually got a pretty good discussion and like good questions out of this. But
until I tore the podcast apart by bringing up the band.
Yeah, that's the low note. And then we're just going to end the stream and we're just going to be silent. It's like, I guess I'll see you later.
Yeah, no, you won't.
Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Pixel Venture Podcast. I'm Corey.
And I'm Jake.
And yeah, we'll see you around for the next episode.
See you.
I never space it out right, so we got a few more seconds. Oh wait, there's the fade out.